Hey, what's up? It's Breyonna. So Colourpop just sent me over the brand new Lust for Dusk palette, and I gotta say, when I first saw this one online, I was like, you know, it looks like a basic neutral palette, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with the color story, it's just a little bit on the basic side, but let me tell you, actually, when I saw this one in person, it's just very different for a cool tone palette, and you guys know I really like my cool tone neutrals. And there's just something so different and fun about this one because we get like these bluish grays in here. We get like mauvey purples. And what's very different about this one is that we get like this yellowy color and then some oranges. And these aren't like bright oranges, but they're like the type that go really well with cool tones. Like it's almost like a cool tone orange, which doesn't make sense, but there's something about it that just really works with this color story. So I'm first just gonna prime my eyes using my Anastasia eye primer. I'm just going to take a little bit on this ABH number 18 brush. I'm just going to press it all over my eye up to my brow. It's going to be very interesting to see what kind of look we can get with this palette, and also most of the shades in here are matte, which I really appreciate. But the first one I want to dip into is this like bluish gray, and this one's called Twilight. This one's a little bit powdery in the pan, but I'm just going to be taking it on this pinch blending brush from Anastasia. This is an A10. And I'm just gonna pop it right in that crease. You know, like in the pan it has more of like a blue undertone to it, but when applied it's like a true gray. Like I don't really see that like blue undertone to it. But like the first layer is even like really pigmented. So I'm gonna do a second layer, see what happens. Oh yeah. It's such a nice formula for a gray because it's really hard to find good grays, like let me tell you. Like I love gray eyeshadow, but it is so hard to find cool tone gray eyeshadows for some reason. Like you can find mauve palettes, but grays are just super hard to find for some reason. And I think it's because most people prefer warm tones and like browns. But I'm a sucker for a good gray. That's just blending out so nice. I'm going to take a little bit more on my brush and kind of like round out this outer edge a little bit more. In some ways it almost applies a little bit darker than I was expecting. You know, I was going to go in with a different transition shade prior to this one because it's a little bit on the deeper side, you know. It's not like super crazy dark right away, but you know, it's not like a lighter shade either. So I was going to go in with something else, but honestly, I didn't need to. I mean, I'm getting a really nice blend with it. Super easy to work with. So now I'm just gonna go in with this like purpley shade right next to Twilight, and this one's called Serve Chilled, and I wasn't sure if this one would, you know, be a little bit darker than Twilight or not, but I mean, we're gonna, I guess, find out. But I'm gonna take it on another pinch blending brush, and ooh, this one looks like a purpley brown kind of shade on my brush. And this is an M456 from Morphe. I'm just going to, again, pop that in the crease, and oh yeah. It's a very different kind of shade. Like it's a purpley cool tone brown. Because it's not like, again, it's not like a bright purple, but also at the same time, it's not really super neutral either. It has like this smoky vibe to it. I'm just gonna take a little bit more on my brush. It actually looks really cool next to Twilight. But yeah, it's definitely deeper than Twilight though. So I'm glad I did it in this order. But ooh, like it's very pigmented too. Like I don't feel like I'd have to build it up. I just wanted to because I was kind of nosy. And then I'm just going to kind of like smooth it out a little bit more. And I'm also going to pack just a little bit on the outer third of my lid. I haven't decided if I want to do a halo style or not today. And then just to make sure everything's all nice and blended, I'm just going to go back in with that brush that we applied Twilight with. Again, with nothing additional on it. And I'm just going to kiss the edge of Served Cold. It's a very odd name for an eyeshadow. Like in my head, I'm thinking like, what's served cold? Like, is it like a dessert? Is it like a salad? You know, like a cool, you know, like what I mean, like a picnic kind of salad. But I'm really feeling this so far. You know what? Screw it. I want to do a halo style today. I think it just looked really cool with the shimmers in here. So I'm first going to go in with a little bit more of Served Chilled. I don't know why. I just cannot say it right. I want to say Served Chilled. And I don't know why that is. But I'm just going to pack a little bit more of this in the inner third of my lid. So now we're going to do the halo style cut crease, and again, I'm just going to go in with that ABH eye primer, and I'm just going to put a tiny amount on the back of my hand. If you hear any like banging when he's playing with her toy, I got these super cute ones at Target. They're like little rhinos and elephants. No, I actually got them at Walmart, and she loves them. They're like cat nip infused, but at the same time they're like this knit fabric. And what I like is that she can't like pull them apart. But let's just say she's obsessed with them, and she likes to bang them around when I'm filming because I'm not paying attention to her because I'm talking to you guys. But I'm just going to take a little bit of this eye primer on a liner brush. This one's from Sigma. It's an E10. It's one of my favorites. And I'm just going to look straight into my mirror and draw on the half cut crease. Or the halo style, I mean. I think that looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to tilt my head up a little bit and then kind of like smooth it out. And just make it look extra pretty and sharp. So now I'm just going to go in with a little bit more of that eye primer on this number 18 brush from Anastasia. This is the brush I applied my eye primer with because, I mean, why, you know, dirty more brushes than you have to? Because I don't know about you, but I hate washing brushes. It is literally like the death of me. Like, I hate doing it. So anytime I can like multi-purpose a brush, I will do it. So now I'm just going to take a little bit more of Serve Chilled on this little shader brush, and I'm just going to pack it right on the edge of the cut crease. Now just to make it so it doesn't look so chunky. And again, when I'm doing this, I'm making sure that I'm pressing it in, and also I'm literally just doing it on the edge. I'm not bringing it in at all. So now let's do the lid, and for the first shimmer shade, I'm going to be going in with this kind of like bluish gray shade, and this one's called Night Lovers. It's one of those shades, like when you look at it like straight on in the palette, it looks completely different than when you look at it from the side. So I'm not too sure if it's going to apply like an orange or if it's going to apply like a silvery blue with like orange flecks in it. But I'm just going to be taking it on this dry little shader brush, and I guess let's see what happens. I'm just going to pop it right on the sides. Ooh, that's pretty. It's kind of like a grayish kind of shade. Just gonna do a second layer. You can kind of see it doesn't really have like that orange tinge to it. Let's see how it swatches. I'm kind of curious. Yeah, like it looks really orange on my hand, but on the eye it doesn't. Ooh, I have like a really weird hair right there. I don't know why it's doing that, but that's just really different because like it looks really warm toned here, but it's almost like a gray on the eye. I kind of like that though because it'll give you a little bit more versatility with the palette depending on the colors that you put next to it. And again, I'm applying it to the outer edge as well as the inner edge. That shimmer though has so much follow to it. You'll definitely want to do your eyes before your face if you decide to use that shade because like trust me, it's just going to be a lot easier to clean up. But for the center of the lid, I'm going to go in with this kind of like mauve color in here. This one just looks so sparkly in the pan. I can't wait to see what it looks like. But I'm just going to be taking it on a different shader brush. Again, I'm applying it dry. Ooh, that is pretty. Again, I'm popping it in the center and then I'm lightly kind of like feathering it out. You know, I wasn't sure if it would be like too pink in the center of the lid because I didn't want something like super like pink there. I thought it would look a little bit weird with the cool tone grays that we have going on. But that's like really pretty. It's kind of like almost a pink champagne in a way. A little bit deeper than your typical pink champagne, but still has that kind of vibe to it. I'm just going to go in with a little bit more and kind of like clean up the top part. Also feather it in just a little bit more too. Like that's just a very eye-catching shimmer, and also it's really extra looking. Like it is super sparkly, has like that glittery look to it. I don't know about you, but when I see these kinds of shimmers, I just really like them. I just wish that the other shade that we used had this kind of formula to it too. But I'm not 100% sure if this one is a Super Shock Shadow kind of formula. Yeah, I'm gonna dip my finger in. So yeah, it's not that kind of Super Shock like creamy formula. It feels like a typical eyeshadow. I'm just gonna pop it right here in the center, whatever's left of my finger, because I don't want to waste it because it's super pretty. So I just did my complexion products off camera, but let's start working on the lower lash line. And I did something different with my face today. I used a powder blush and I sprayed it with some setting spray to make it into a cream, and let me just say, I need to do that more. But I'm first gonna go in with this dark purple shade again, the Served Chilled shade. Again, I just want to call it Served Chilled for some reason. But I'm just going to be taking it on this small little shader brush from Morphe. I'm just gonna run it as close as I can to where my lashes grow out. And I'm just gonna go in with some Twilight on this little ES3 brush from Profusion. I love this brush so much for the lower lash line. It's like a little small blending brush, it's really precise. And then lastly, for the inner corner highlight, I'm just gonna go in with this kind of like icy, silvery, taupey kind of color, and this one's called Mood Lighting. This looks like it's gonna be one of those shades that's like super sparkly, but I'm just gonna be taking it on this small little pencil brush, and this one's from Morphe, it's an M431. And I'm just gonna be packing this baby right in that. So I'm just gonna do a second layer. Like, I like the vibe of it, I just wish it was a little bit lighter. But again, it's one of those shades that's like extra sparkly. Like the shade Shaken, they're like literally the same formula. And for like a hint of spiciness, I'm just gonna take a little bit of Shaken on my finger and pop it right in the center of my lower lash line. I don't know, I actually really like how this look turned out because it's like a neutral look, but it has just like a little bit more spice and just like a tiny bit of color to it. But honestly, overall, I think this is a really nice palette. Like the mattes in here were so easy to work with. They didn't give me any harsh lines or any issues. And even though I did use more of the darker shades today, I didn't think they were hard to work with at all. So if you're a beginner or if you're newer to makeup or if you're just not used to using darker shades, these are not going to give you a hard time. As for the shimmers in here, some of them have a more like wearable type of formula to them. They're not as sparkly, and other ones in here are like super extra and almost have like a glittery effect to them. Just kind of depends on the shade. Like this first one that we used called Night Lovers. Now this one's a little bit more on the wearable side. Again, it's not like a satin kind of eyeshadow. It does have a little bit more like sparkle factor to it than that. But again, it's not like super intense either. It's kind of like right in the middle. As for these other two shimmer shades right here though, oh my gosh, like they are so sparkly and just really extra, and they kind of have like this glittery effect to them too. Like if you're like me and you like really intense shimmers, you're gonna really like these two right here because again, they are just absolutely stunning on the eyes. I'll show you what I mean when I swatch them. Especially that Shaken shade, the one in the center of my lid. Now that one almost looks like a pressed glitter. It's not a glitter though, but it has like that kind of reflect to it. But I mean, look at that. I will say though, Shaken is a little bit more extra than Mood Lighting, but when you apply Mood Lighting in like the inner corner, it does have more of a shine factor than when swatched. I don't know why that is. And again, I applied it dry in my inner corners, so just, you know, sometimes swatches are a little bit funky. So when it comes down to it, would I recommend this palette to you? Honestly, I think this palette is really fun and different. Even though it is a neutral palette, it actually has a fairly interesting color story to it. So if you're looking for a cool tone stable palette that isn't like taupe and gray, I think this one would be a really good one to check out. Because again, you get like these bluish gray, kind of like icy colors in there. You get like these mauvey purples, and then you get these really interesting oranges that work well with both. And it's really hard to find a nice orange that goes with purple as well as blues. So I think it's really cool that they included them in here. But yeah, so in the comments down below, let me know what you think about this look, and also let me know what you think about this palette. But as always though, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and also give this video a like. And if you'd like to check me out over on Instagram or TikTok, it's at Breyonna as well. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!